Hey y'all, what's poppin'? What's good with you? It's your boy Corrosive and bringing you back another dose of Guilty Gear. And today, it's gonna be a little bit different. There's been a lot of information, a lot of shit been going on as of late, in and out of games. But yeah, this video is just gonna be me talking about all the fighting game related stuff that has come out so far, right? And the first thing I wanted to talk about is Tokon. We're talking on Tokon right now, and honestly, like, the game looks amazing, right? Like, I feel like the game has a lot of potential to go very far in fighting games, just in general, right? Like, just looking at the characters, everything that's possible in the game, I feel like it could go far. I feel like this Tokon in and of itself shouldn't need a lot of like outside help from other games to be great either, because again, it's Marvel, right? And right now, if you guys don't know, now you know. I really fuck with comics, right? So Marvel comics in and of itself have been doing some wonderful things as of late, and I think it would be this year in and of itself can be a great year to implement some characters that have been like kind of like comic book exclusives, right? For instance, like Ebony Maw. I was thinking about the King in Black, the God Killer. You can even throw like characters like Beta Ray Bill and like Silver Surfer from these other like bigger teams, these bigger stories that don't get a lot of shine in regular games, right? That being said, right, like I'm like super kind of like impressed. I've been seeing like the tournaments, I've been seeing what's going on, and I'm liking what's going on for the most part. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Originally, I wasn't even gonna give that game a lot of my attention, primarily because I've never played a game where I have to learn multiple characters at one time. So like, for instance, I have said that I do have Dragon Ball Fighters, right? But I haven't played it in like any sufficient capacity because one, I think it would be difficult learning multiple characters at once, and two, again, they just didn't have as many characters as I wanted. All my favorite characters in the game became DLC, which I feel like is a little disappointing, right? But yeah, like before the Tokon even has like DLC, I really hope that they put in like these really interesting, like high velocity characters that you kind of would want to see in the game, kind of like inherently before like, you know what I'm saying, they get into like we're gonna start throwing DLC into the game, like for instance, I feel like Cyclops should just be in the game, like low key. I feel like he'd be awesome in the game. I feel like he doesn't get as much clout as his wife, but you know what I mean. I get it. Bad bitch with the Phoenix Force in in games. I'm not a hater of it. I normally play like a bunch of hot chicks anyway. Y'all know what the deal is. But yeah, like you can even throw in like different iterations of the character to really show the full like depth of the character. So, say, for instance, I was thinking of the Phoenix Force Cyclops, that version of Cyclops that was kind of evil, almost like Magneto-esque, and another good character that would I think blend well with the roster, right? Magneto. But like, yeah, I'm curious what you guys think characters that should be in Tokon before they start adding DLC characters in. For me, I think the Silver Surfer, if he was like a staple character, Cyclops, Iceman, like if you want to throw in weirder like characters, Beast, what's homie name? He teleport a lot. I'm a big X-Men fan, guys, so I might just be spouting off a lot of X-Men characters here. Frick. He teleport, bro. He blue as hell, and he religious. I forget his name right now. It's so crazy. Anyway, other than him, like other than what I'm saying, X-Men characters, they could add to the mythos, right, and give like they could add in like maps from like say the Kree and Skrull, and add like say Gladiator from the Kree, add the Skrull character in, and be kind of like a Captain Ginyu, because Skrulls basically just take the ability of like specific like characters and stuff. They're like the perfect assassin. Essentially, they can steal the image and the ability of whoever they're mimicking, right? But yeah, like adding like more characters, like even the bringing in the Inhumans and the Immortals and stuff like that. You know, like really like showing people that maybe who aren't fully aware of the comics. You know what I'm saying? Like these are characters from the comics, getting them interested in the comics, and then potentially adding like more interest, more excitement into the ethos. You know what I'm saying? Just relying on the pure universe that you have at your disposal, right? I don't know if you don't know, but you must be living under a rock if you don't know. But EVO's run by the Saudis, right? And so, in my mind, I obviously see Tokon, as soon as it gets fully released, being a part of EVO in some way, in some fashion, right? And they're saying like, the big topic of discussion is, how do you elevate fighting games? How do you make it like profitable and stuff like that? For me, I feel like that answer is kind of like it's difficult, but it seems simple to me. You just make the games kind of like, again, they lean on the ethos that they're in. You know, we're talking about Tokon, we're talking about Marvel, right? You make everything about Marvel into the game, make Marvel as an industry more interesting, and then they will give back to you, right? And kind of like a shaking of hands kind of situation, right? Well, will that make, say, EVO more interesting? Will that make, say, like fighting games more popular? Well, it depends on how you guys shake hands, right? You add more people to Tokon, right? Add to their mythos, right? And like, say at the end of certain comic series, right, they're like, hey, check out Evo date, blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? They kind of both promote each other in this way, to where it's kind of like a harmonious thing, rather than one person taking from the other person and the other person not giving back, right? And I feel like that's kind of like, in my opinion, the best way to guarantee everyone gets like this power bump, this stat boost, if you will. But going back to the game itself, right? Again, I'm just really hyped on the characters. I feel like the game in and of itself has a lot of potential when it comes to characters, but I really just don't feel like it needs like outside help. Like, what do I mean by that? Like, if you think Marvel vs. Capcom, there was like Devil May Cry characters in there. There were a whole slew of characters in there that I wasn't quite aware of where they came from, right? I think there was even some Resident Evil characters in there, which is interesting, right? Because Resident Evil isn't a fighting game, but they still made it into a fighting game, right? Interesting. But at the same time, I feel like, Marvel and like Street Fighter, or yeah, it was Marvel vs. Street Fighter. Those two universes are so expansive, right? They have so many characters in them. I don't really feel like you need to draw too much from other universes to make like an interesting and compelling game, right? Again, like I referenced the Inhumans, I referenced God characters. I reference super villains, right? Imagine a pack when they actually decide to do DLC for Tokon, and it's like Galactus, Thanos, fucking Ebony Maw, and the King in Black, or they put in the God Killer from the Thor comics. You know what I'm saying? They throw in these crazy heavy hitters that had these intense storylines behind them. People get interested, and then there's like, oh well, there's a comic for them too. If you want to check out the comic, this is the comic that it came from. And then they get into the comics, they buy up comics, it makes comic value go up again. And then again, that's where I say, like, in those comics, maybe they throw in, hey, Evo is such and such a day, boom, there you go. More money for both people, depending on if the person decides to partake in each offering given to them, right? It's very everything in market is buyer preference, buyer choice, right? You can't, it's not like a forced situation. But yeah, like, again, the game is great. I just to sum it up, the game is great. Looking forward to seeing all the characters they throw in the game. Hopefully they add characters that make sense, and you know, maps. I hope they add maps that are actually from the universe, and it's just not like these random locations on the planet that don't really tie in to any particular story. Like, imagine because Doom's in the game, right? Imagine one of the maps is Latveria. You know what I'm saying? Like, One World Under Doom has this crazy freaking part in it where a bunch of people are trapped in like tubes, and it's very Matrix-esque, right? Now imagine you're fighting in the back of that, and you're like playing as Doom, and you're like, oh well, now I gotta protect all my secrets. Or you're playing as a hero fighting against Doom, and you're like, I gotta free the world, right? You get like this it like adds to the story, you know, of the fight. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh my god, now I'm like the hero in this situation, trying to overcome Doom's crazy ass. You know what I'm saying? Interesting. It's exciting, right? Or like it's just a pleasing background that'll add more to the gravitas of the battle, right? That's what I think of anyway. But yeah, you know, I feel like Tokon can really write a story in the way they present themselves, right? I feel like they out of all the fighting games that have been released and that are about to be released, I feel like Tokon probably has like the best chances of being like a mainstay game, right? I also heard that Dragon Ball FighterZ is having a second variation come out, and if like I actually get into Tokon and I like the whole playing multiple characters aspect, I might get that because I missed out on the first one. I'm probably not gonna miss out on the second one, especially if they put in Ultra Ego Vegeta. That was my favorite version of Vegeta, so if he's in there, like I'm definitely gonna have to try it out, right? But yeah, like to switch the topic to, I want to call them the underachiever, but they're definitely the resident sleeper of the group. 2X KO. Hopefully they don't KO themselves personally, because my opinion is very biased, right? I've played League and I've been fucking with Riot Games since damn near middle school, right? So I know a lot of Riot Games shenanigans. I know a lot of Riot Games bullshit. I've been through a lot of shit with them. And to bring up 2XKO into this, like me being a fighting game player, like again, I was immediately interested, you know, with the first inklings of 2XKO even being a thing. Set was kind of tied into that, right? That's how that's, in my opinion, that's how Set was released, right? They were gonna make a fighting game and throw Set into the game, right? Now, how many years later, they're making the fighting game, right? And you see hide no hair of Set, but you see Jinx, Vi, Braum, like Darius, Alawi. Don't get me wrong, Yasuo. Don't get me wrong, Yasuo, Darius, Alawi, Vi makes complete sense. I start getting nervous when I see ranged characters in the game before characters that make sense. You know what I'm saying? For instance, Jinx, Ahri. Okay, I get it. You want to add some uniqueness. You want to add some variety, right? But how are you gonna add those two characters in before, like, say, an Irelia, a Shen, Lee Sin, you know, Riven, you know what I'm saying, Xin Zhao, these characters that rely a lot on combat, martial arts, a Jax, you know what I'm saying? That's their whole shtick, is fighting. You know what I'm saying? A lot of, I think a lot of top laners, if they put Renekton in this game, or Aatrox, I'm telling you, on launch, people who don't know a damn thing about League, they're gonna see Aatrox and Renekton doing shit, and they're gonna be like, what the fuck is going on? I gotta play this game. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna harp too hard because it's an indie game, right? Or not an indie game, but they're like small group, very small group. So they put in what they could, right? But in my opinion, right, if you have limited resources, I think you'd want to put in fire first, like, you know what I'm saying, and then put in more fire and maybe some like chill shit as you get more support, right? And for me, like, throwing in more characters like a Zed, a Kiana, a Talon, Master Yi, Viejo, or not Viejo, Yon? Viego and Yon. You know what I'm saying? Those, these kind of like really brawler fighter characters that are in League of Legends very well played, very well received. Putting them in as kind of like your face, I feel like would bring more people in. And now to hear that they're dead on arrival and like, you know, it's kind of like shooting them in the foot, like in my opinion, I kind of agree. Like, if you see some of the gameplay of 2XKO, it's a lot of like backing up zoning. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of the characters in the game that don't zone, they have a lot of far-ranging moves to kind of counteract that zoning, which isn't bad, but it's still like in a way feels kind of like we're just playing a zoning game. You know what I mean? And and this is like one of my big gripes, y'all. If y'all don't know, now you know. I hate zoning. I hate projectile characters. It's gross. Imagine you're trying to play a fighting game, or you're in a fight, right? And it's like the UFC, and it's supposed to be all fisticuffs, right? And then they can bring a gun to the fight, right? It's like no matter how good you are at the game, you have to dodge the blicky. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. In my opinion, again, if Happy Chaos is top 2, there's something wrong with the game inherently, because like characters who have to play ethically are gonna have inherently a harder time, because the gun kind of cheats the entire everything, movement, neutral, like, you know what I'm saying, like shimmy, like what's the point of it all if I could just pull my gun out and start shooting? You know what I'm saying? Like, it sucks in my opinion, because especially when they have really good front-running options that aren't that big of a deal to just throw into the game first. Again, Jax, his whole stick is that he's a gladiator that fights. Pantheon, his whole stick is being a guy that likes to fight. You know what I'm saying? Lee Sin, a martial artist, makes sense in a fighting game. Like, I get it. 2 on the nose, guys. 2 on the nose. It's gonna be bland, boring. But like, it's only bland and boring if you make the characters bland and boring. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna throw shade at Slayer, but god damn it, this character is the most vanilla ass fighting game character ever. The only thing that makes this character viable is that he blows people up for doing simple stuff. Don't get me wrong, I like Slayer. Slayer's cool. He's a very ethical fighting game character, but god damn is this shit like just the most like one note. It's dandy into mix. None of it's plus. It's all fake. And then you get into some matchups where you feel like all of it's plus. Like Totsugeki, that girl and that dolphin, bro, they do some magic, all right? And what can you do, right? But again, I feel like she, in and of herself, is still viable in this game. It's just a lot of her buttons are really fucking good. Losing to her is better than a fucking Happy Chaos pulling up on you, strapped to the gills, shooting, getting plus frames off of shooting you, and you gotta hold that shit. You know what I'm saying? You gotta waste meter just to block him from doing that shit, and then he throws you in the loop. And then guess what? If you're not fast enough to rush at him full screen, he gonna shoot you again. If you're not fast enough to block while you're running, he gonna shoot you while you're running. Like, again, and then it kills the neutral game. You know what I'm saying? Which I believe fighting games are built off of, is neutral, shimmies, mix-up. That's like the core, I believe, that is the core function of fighting games. I'm a veteran fighting game player. I'm not a pro. Please take my opinions with a grain of salt. Especially when it comes to the fucking projectile characters, because there's a lot of it, alright? But, suffice it to say, all I can say is that I hope 2XKO comes back. Like, it makes a comeback, a real strong one. The whole aspect of having to grind the game out through quests to unlock, again, staple characters in my mind is a little disgusting. I feel like they should add to the roster more, and then say if they want to make the DLC characters that kind of grind quest based option, to where you use, like, say, blue essence or spending like $10 to get them. Like that in my mind makes sense, because it still follows the Riot game plan and formula, and it just, in my mind, they're respecting the player's time by giving them more options to play around with before they have to really think about dedicating a lot of time into a team, right? Like, I don't know about y'all, but when I play a fighting game for the first time, I don't normally stick to one character that I pick, and that's my character for the entire shebang. Like Guilty Gear, for instance. Before I played Ramlethal, I tried Saul Bad Guy, I tried Kai, you know what I mean? And I wanted to do Potemkin, but I never did grapplers before, so I was like, nah, let's not do that. And then I found Ram, and I was like, okay, I'm home here. You know what I'm saying? Like, with Street Fighter, you know, before Cammy, I was thinking I was gonna be a Ken player, but you feel me? I didn't feel like being a Ken player. I thought I was gonna play Akuma, but he was DLC, so I was like, fuck that, not gonna deal with that. Manon, I was very close to becoming a Manon player. What's his name? There was a specific Street Fighter 6 Pro that I used to watch a lot, and he used to play Poison, and then he started maining Manon, and it was him and Punk. I used to watch them two a lot, and I thought I was gonna be a Manon player, but I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna try Cammy, and I stuck with it. What is that motherfucker name? I'm gonna get mad too. Oh shit. He been mad quiet lately. That's why I haven't been seeing him. He had a podcast. Idom. That's his name. That took me a minute. I wasn't gonna let it go, bro. I have to give my nigga his respect. You know what I'm saying? I had to do it. I can't let it go. But yeah, hit Idom and then fucking Punk. Yeah, those are like the two guys that really got me into Street Fighter. If you don't know, now you know. And yeah, like it was just, you know, it was a blast. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like I feel like with 2XKO, for instance, you know, having a roster of like less than double digits is ridiculous in my mind. I feel like, especially because League of Legends has a lot of characters, you know what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong, not all of them are gonna make sense in the game, but you know, they may already make sense. So like, I could see Vex being in the game and making some sort of sense. I could see Lissandra being in the game and making some sort of sense, you know what I mean? I could see Sejuani being in the game and making some sort of sense, okay? So like, in my mind, right, I would think you want to put the people who are obviously going to be vanilla characters into the game immediately to put like your best foot forward. And I say that to say you don't have to put like say an Aatrox in immediately. I feel like Aatrox would be a badass DLC character. But like again, the obvious ones, in my opinion, Jax, Riven, every Ionia character out there, because every Ionia character has some form of martial arts in it. Riven, like Darius, most of the Noxian people should be in there. Why? Because they're war fighters. They fight for a living. So this Coliseum shit is up their alley. That's why Jax is in there. Pantheon should be in there too, because all he does is like to do is fight. You know, he's a gladiator. He's a legit gladiator for real. He is a Spartan for real. You know what I'm saying? He should be in the fighting game at the jump. Set was the only, like, and I could be wrong. League of Legends players, please save me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure when the news of this game first trickled into the ether, it was when Set first came out, and they said Set is gonna be a part of the game. Now, I think it'll be a whole bunch of bullshit if Set is put in the game very last as the last DLC character when he could have been the Ken or the Ryu of the game. And like, again, thinking the Ken and Ryu, right? Lee Sin makes Anz and Zhao make a very good argument of being a Ken and Ryu of the game. You know what I'm saying? Their core mechanics would fit perfectly in a fighting game to where it's like, in my mind, when I saw like this is what you're gonna get potentially on release, I'm thinking to myself, what is going on? Don't get me wrong, throwing Braum in was pretty cool. I didn't expect the Blitzcrank, and though it's a little wacky, you know, like I can sympathize with the Blitzcrank pick, though I don't necessarily agree with it. Because again, if you look at the options, there are a lot better options in my opinion. I'm a little butthurt that my main isn't in there, Riven. I would really, if the game came out and Riven was in the game immediately, I would literally be playing Riven with anyone else as a side character, and then we're golden. You know what I'm saying? But like the fact that Jinx was announced before Vi, I'm thinking there's something fucking wrong here. And like that's just my genuine opinion. But I've already seen a lot of opinions about 2XKO, again, how it's dead on arrival, about like how people are disagreeing with the roster amount, how you get more characters and stuff like that. But again, I've been rocking with Riot for a long time. I did expect some sort of grind to get more characters. I'm a little disappointed in how much they're putting in inherently as free characters. Again, I think some characters should have just been like core in the game. Again, like all the characters I've listed before, great options. You know what I mean? But if the fighting characters have to be DLC to be in the game, I think the game is just doomed on launch. And I'm personally upset about that, because like again, I've played a lot of other Riot Games side games. Like I've played Runeterra, I've tried TFT. You know what I mean? TFT wasn't really my thing, but I like cards, so Runeterra was my thing for a rip, and Runeterra is actually a pretty good card game for what it is. You know what I mean? But you know, to say that they're the one thing that I would probably play the most, which would be 2XKO, is flopping because of bad character choice. In my opinion, is really sad, because again, like if you look at the options, they just have so many more interesting, exciting options than what they're allowing to be seen, or what they're allowing to be put in at the moment. But yeah, to summarize my overall thoughts, again, I think Token on Tokan, because I feel like that's going to be some good shit when it comes out. I don't believe that game really needs any outside help. I feel like they should really just, you know, pull from the comics, ask like the comic book people, hey yo, let me use this character, hype up Evo in exchange for us using this character and using that character, you know what I mean? And hell, even create more storylines around the game if they really want to. Could grow the ethos and make it what is it within continuity, if that's really what they're trying to go for. But yeah, that game I feel like it could really go far. I feel like that game could, or rather should, get a season 2 or a version 2 if it does really well, right? Now, 2XKO. I feel like 2XKO is like a zombie. It has to bring itself back from the dead. And in my opinion, the only way to do that is by adding more characters that make sense for the game. Like every character that I suggested, adding at least 5 of those would, in my opinion, make it a little bit more interesting. Just expand the available playable characters, you know. Put a little bit of like fucking, you know what I mean, a little bit of sauce on it. I'm not gonna lie, the only character I feel like that got a little sauce on him is Echo, and that's only because he can time snap and shit, you know what I'm saying? Everybody else seems kind of like they're good because the button's really good, you know what I'm saying? They're not really doing anything that's like, oh shit, he got hit with the tentacle and is going into tentacle hentai bullshit, and then Darius is coming putting on the bleed on the motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's none of that. Oh my god, Jinx is fucking throwing missiles while backdashing. Oh my god, guys, it's so crazy, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's none of that real hype to it, you know. There's no real crazy bullshit going on. Don't get me wrong, if Yasuo has some crazy Hazagi combos, like, I'm gonna see it, I'm gonna want to see it, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you know what I'm saying, Yasuo isn't that good, you know. In the core characters that have been introduced, Yasuo's not that good, and so he's not really given a lot of spotlight. And this is where I say those characters that people kind of like vibe with a lot in League of Legends history should kind of have more of a light. And don't get me wrong, I know why Jinx and Vi are in the game is because of the show, right? Which, okay, cool. If the show has pull, then why don't these legacy characters that have been in League forever have any pull? Like what the hell, you know? It doesn't make a lot of sense. Anyway, like, again, 2xKL needs a lot of work, in my opinion. And I feel like if the creators of the game want to give it another, like, another month, just to get some more characters in the game, to really spice up interest, really adjust some combos to make them look crazy, I think go for it, man. Like, I think it's always better to give a little bit more than a little less, I think, especially in this case. Alright, y'all. So, the last thing we're gonna talk about here, Saudis, bro. The Saudis buying fucking Evo, in my opinion, it's interesting, right? Because if that means we'll just have more Evos, look at this shit. Look at this shit. Is this a fighting game? Did you see what he just did? Is this a fighting game? Or am I playing fucking COD? What the fuck was that? Do you guys see why I hate projectile characters? I won. Because he's ass. And he doesn't know how to play the game. Yet here he is in gold. What the fuck is going on? Anyway, the fact that the Saudis have bought Evo, right, in my opinion, is interesting. If it means we have more Evos and it gives opportunity for people who want to kind of prevail in gaming to be more of for it to be more viable, I say go ahead and make your money, man. Like, listen to no hate if that hate is about getting your bag, nigga. Them niggas are jealous because they can't get it like you get it. You know what I'm saying? And to those people who are throwing shade at some of the commentators for showing up or not showing up, bro, I feel like the world nowadays is just, it's uber pathetic, right? I feel like this sounds so fucked up saying, but like, not every person needs to have a say in a conversation, right? For instance, if you haven't read the material on, say, Dark Matter, and two people who have read the material on Dark Matter, you saying something about it probably isn't going to add any form of enlightenment if you're starting out, if you're trying to interject in the beginning of the conversation. You know what I mean? If you're listening and it's near the end of the conversation and you see the conversation petering off and you glean some sort of understanding and then you decide to add to the conversation in that manner, trying to enlighten the people on maybe something they've missed, I think that makes sense. But if you're just gonna hate on them for the specific decision of studying the material, you know what I'm saying? It's just, I don't know. It screams stupidity in my mind. I don't know. Like, especially if it's their job to do it, you know, it makes no sense for hating somebody for doing their job, right? It makes no sense for you anyone to really hate somebody for doing their job, you know. But I'm generally just excited to see like what Saudi is gonna do to elevate Evo to make it more interesting, right? Because they want to do it for a specific reason, right? Well, you can't, in my mind, right? You can't buy something and do nothing to it and expect a return, right? You have to add something to the game or to the event to where people are like, yeah, I want to go here. I want to spend time and money to come here and experience not just the event, but what's going on at the event. You know what I'm saying? Again, this is why I feel like games should really be trying to pull from the universe they're in to expand the game or the like events like this in some form or fashion, right? Again, bringing it back to Tokon. For instance, they do like comic book releases at Evo to help support Tokon, right? And they're like giving out like limited edition-esque comics that you're never gonna find anywhere else. It's like you're like a sneaker drop, like low-key like a sneaker drop. You know, these are only gonna be out this time, this location. Pull up if you want to get it. You know what I'm saying? And for those, again, for a game like Tokon, it's really big for like some comic book guys. I know me in particular, if they had like limited edition Green Lantern shit. Oh well, Green Lantern isn't Marvel. Maybe limited edition X-Men shit to keep it on topic, right? I'd pull up in a heartbeat. I'd be like, what the fuck? I gotta get this like limited edition shit with Cable and fucking X22 or 21. I can't remember what that lady was, what her number distinction was. You know what I'm saying? You know, some limited edition fucking Nightcrawler stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck yeah, like. Fuck yeah, you know what I'm saying? I pull up. If 2XKL brings it back from the dirt, back from the mud, and they get invited to Evo, you know what I'm saying? And they're like, okay, we're doing drops on old merch in the vault of the old merch in the League of Legends vault. So like stuff that they don't release anymore, like old hoodies, maybe old jerseys that got turned into hoodies, like whatever, figurines. I don't know. They release like secret skins like you can only get through access codes at Evo and shit. And it's like, oh yeah, I was here at Evo, but like the skin's actually really cool in League of Legends. It can't be something stupid like a championship rivet, for instance. You know what I'm saying? Like that was a limited time thing, and you know what I'm saying? I don't know if it came out at an event, but at the same time, you know what I'm saying? That's a good example. I feel like these are ways to where they could elevate it and get people interested in pulling up, right? I also feel like, I don't know about the exact statistic of it. I'd have to look at the numbers. But when you can make an actual gain from owning the stuff that these games release, I wonder if it increases the value of the game and the events that have the game in. For instance, I think of CSGO, right? Where you could open up boxes and the gun skins that you get and the nice skins that you get actually cost money, right? So in my mind, right, I wonder if that had a correlation in popularity, right? Because again, it supports gambling in a way, right? And it also supports player interaction, right? Depending on if you're just a whale just logging on to open up loot boxes, that's kind of sad, but you know, some people do that. But yeah, in my opinion, right, these are things I feel like, you know, could potentially also elevate the game elevate the event and the games participating in the event. Everything is a circular thing. Every company involved with every facet of the thing have to play a role. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the only way everyone's gonna get a benefit, right? In my mind, right? Now, don't get me wrong. Now, everybody don't want to do that shit. You know what I'm saying? Some people aren't gonna want to like fucking. So long as no one's giving up rights to shit, I feel like that's what's gonna keep people wanting to help, right? So long as it's like we're just doing this for the community that loves this fucking shit. We're not gonna make it too expensive. We're just gonna make it to where it costs like $5, like a regular skin in Street Fighter. Make it $10 like a regular skin in League of Legends. You know what I'm saying? You make the stuff overly affordable to where people can get a surplus of it in different colors if they wanted to. You know, really go crazy, and you know, like, you know, give back in that regard while also getting a little something for yourself, right? Though, is it cost effective in that regard? Depends on how you do it. Depends on your model, right? But again, it'll pay dividends because it's different types of liquid dripping into the same bucket, you know, or 3 different types of liquids dipping in 3 different types of buckets, and all 3 liquids are dropping in those 3 buckets. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, like I'm choosing to be optimistic, though a part of me is not, given what is happening currently in like political spaces. I just hope people realize that we're all humans and we all seek the same thing, which is life, liberty, happiness, pursuit of love. And you know, we all do better for each other to where we can all pursue those things. Yeah, this was a fun conversation. I hope you all have a great day. Later.